Welcome back to the Titanium Hangout. This is Mike, and I'm coming at you with another video. This time I want to talk to you about why it takes so long for us to get these Masterpiece Transformers third-party, Takara third-party, any of them. It takes a long time, but specifically with some of the third-party, it's taking a really long time, and we're talking years. We've been waiting 3 years plus for some. We've just recently gotten a release that Hot Rod from Kos Toys, that was a 3-year wait on that thing. And well, there's a whole lot of reasons and a whole lot of setbacks. But before we get into all of this and have this discussion, go ahead and subscribe if you're new to the channel. Press like on the video in case you don't like the rest of it. And let's get right into this. So it's kind of been driving me crazy lately, looking at all these figures that are up for pre-order and have been up for pre-order for a long time and aren't even out. And I've even gone through the extent to where I have paid in full 6 months ago for a figure that still has no date in sight, but I was under the impression it was coming out in the next month or two, but I was wrong. So here we are waiting and waiting and waiting. And let's get to some of these reasons why it takes so long. So first of all, you have the design team designing these things, and usually they'll throw up a silhouette. Now, they used to put silhouettes all the time, so you know they're working on it, but you don't know exactly. Sometimes it was a guess, like, hey, what is this silhouette we're looking at? And these silhouettes would get us excited about it, but we knew that it was so far out that it's not tomorrow or next month. It's probably a year away, because they're just hinting at this thing. It's not like it's an official pre-order. But, you know, they've kind of gotten away from that practice lately. They still do it occasionally, but it's not as common as it used to be. So nowadays what we get is we get renders. Just like we look at the renders of the X-Transbots Minosaur all of the time. We see those renders and it's kind of like we're waiting to get this, but we still don't know everything about it. Just like the Kos Toys Minosaur. A lot of these combiners, it's big with the combiners. So we get these renders and we're still not 100% sure of a release date. We get hints and then pushbacks and all that good stuff. Well, part of that is because then they get into the prototype phase and they find a lot of problems with that render. There's a lot of problems with their design, and they have to keep fixing these things before they go to production. And they don't want to go to production when they have a lot of flaws and a lot of problems. And it's really funny when the prototype design in the Star Wars world, prototypes are sought after more than anything. Those prototypes are gold, and they're worth some of the most valuable figures out there. But I never hear anybody talking about masterpiece type prototypes. I never hear that. So it's kind of interesting. But from a Star Wars collecting to a Transformer collecting, where are we with prototypes? And I'm sure that G1 Transformer prototypes that showed up are worth quite a bit of money. The next bit is when you go from the prototype phase and you fix all those problems, then you move into the production phase. Well, there's a lot of issues there too. You have to fight for factory time. And the thing is that these factories, they make other things than just toys. So it's not like we're just waiting for one company to finish making theirs to move into another company to make their figure. There's tons of factories over in China, and most of the stuff's made in China, but there's a lot of factories over there. But getting the time in there and getting that slot and not getting bumped over and over and over is an issue. So some of it's out of their control. Like, they really can't control it. The other thing is, I mean, there's rumors that Make Toys owns their own factories. That means that they're making other products. So if they're making other products, they have to make those decisions, like what's more important, what's more profitable, and then again, they got to meet the demand of other supplying other customers that are non-stop year-round customers versus making the toys that they're not making these 100% year-round. So there's other issues and other factors that go into that. The financial aspect of it, like, they got to raise the money for it. So they got to, in order to go to production, it costs so much money, they got to pay for that. It's not like they produce it, sell it to us, then pay them. So it's a huge financial investment to make these things. And so with that, it's going to take more time. It's going to make us wait a little bit longer. It's setbacks. Well, the other thing is the parts count. This is a complicated Transformer, a complicated toy. And I would go as far as to say the most complicated toy out there. And maybe there's somebody else that would say, oh, well, you know, I know this toy that's more complicated than Masterpiece Transformers. I know this toy that's more complicated. When the part count is so massive compared to, say, a Black Series Star Wars figure, or, well, you know, any of the other toys that are out there, the Turtles that are getting made, or Matty Collector figures for the He-Man, or all those things, they don't have nearly the parts count as the average third-party Transformer, especially in the Masterpiece scale. And that's another reason why you can see so many of the Legends. They have a lower part count, and the Legends can get pushed out so much faster. But then you can go to, during the production phase, quality control and quality assurance, and let's say they find an issue, they got to go back and they got to fix those. And there's a production error has been a holdup on a multitude of these, and that is why, like, I'll place an order and be told there was a production error. There was actually a production issue with one of the aerial bots for Zeta, and it was almost impossible to get that thing because the factory had an issue with production. So, I mean, I firsthand found that information out, and it was a challenge to get that bad boy, but I finally got it. Anyway, moving into repaints. So it takes a long time is because they're putting out figures that are repainted, or just, hey, let's go to the G2 scheme, or even just reissuing old figures. Well, that is taking away from new figure production, and that is pushing it back. Now, these companies have to make these decisions. Now, do we balance helping out new collectors and selling old product, which is we've already worked the bugs out of, so it's an easier production, it's a faster production, we can push it through and make some money to fund the new one that's coming out that we're going to have to put up a whole lot of money for. It's going to take a lot longer, we're going to have these bug fixes. So those decisions have to be made. And yes, they make those decisions, and right now I think that this whole reissue thing going on with every company except for Fans Toys is almost to the point of excessive, because we're still not getting things promised. And X-Transbots is probably the worst right now. I am waiting on Saltus, the Springer, and I'm waiting on their Seaspray, and right now we're end up getting a blue Cosmos that nobody asked for, we're getting a green Arcos nobody asked for, we're getting all the different colors for the G2 of the Combiner as we go, which I didn't ask for. But I don't know, what do you think about that? Next, we look into some issues with, such as Moss Toys that went under. So, the financial issues are a lot bigger than you may realize for producing these, to a point that a company that's actually well known has gone under. And, you know, you think about this, and what can they do what could we have done to, let's say, make enough money for a production run? Well, people say that KOs. KO companies make their KO figures, and then they use that money to produce a new figure. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know if they couldn't afford to pay their a designer to design without making production runs of KOs, but we don't really know that for sure. But all of this factors in to fighting for that factory time and pushing back official figures of true new design. Lastly, we got competition. So when a competitor comes out, let's say we have all these wars going on, the Springer Wars, and we've got the Inferno War, and which Inferno and Grapple, and then we have the Trailbreaker War, and then the Hoist War, and all those that are going on. And I would say an RC War, but that thing is like, that's barely even going on. But whenever a new one comes out, a new figure comes out, and a company's planning to make that character, they look at it and go back and say, we've got to do better than this. I know Fans Toys does it. I know Fans Toys, allegedly, that's what's going on with their Blitzwing. Allegedly, that's what happened with their Soundwave. Why they didn't put a Soundwave, because Takara, and they just didn't want to go up against Takara at the time. Now I think they have the reputation, the clout, and the following that they could. And then that's also the excuse about Trailbreaker. But I mean, their Trailbreaker looks good, and there's really nobody going up against them. And with their Blitzwing, there's getting redesigned, but there's really no one that's going to beat them. So I don't think that's a big deal. But you look how Takara came out, and they released their MP39. They stopped the Sunstreaker Wars. No other company even hinted at making a Sunstreaker after that. They stopped the G1 Megatron Wars, because nobody felt they could top the MP36. There's no new Megatrons coming out. So that's the competition, just fighting and being fierce. And they realize this. And it's too much of a financial risk, like we keep talking, to put out a figure when there's something that's superior to theirs. They know that theirs isn't going to beat it. Then why are they going to put it out? But anyway, I don't know if you guys are losing a little bit of sanity over the long wait on certain figures, but in the end, you could just be happy that it's safe on your wallet, that you're not, that these delays are going on. It's going to help you out financially by not having to buy them all right now. But then again, in the end, when they do hit, it's going to be some serious money. Paying for all this stuff we've been waiting for years. Maybe they're trying to bring up some anticipation on us so that we really want it when it comes out. But who knows? Like and subscribe. Fadir Manger out.